All right, so this video is going to be the quick tutorial on how we edit the master burn recording from Sunday morning for the radio. So the first thing that we're going to do is open Studio One. One thing you have to make sure you do when you're working in here is you do have to make sure Dante Virtual Sound Card is on and started, and that is this guy. So like when this opens up, if this says start, you just got to click that. So always make sure that this is running when you're working in here right now with the way that this is set up. So we will select the 915 service to do the editing. In order to make this make sense, I'm going to use the 11 o'clock because I've already edited the 915. That way this will look like you expect it to look when you would open up a 915 service after a Sunday morning. Okay, so this is going to load and load all of the plugins, which takes just a minute here. Okay, you have two monitors in here. This monitor is what you're seeing. This is all of the wave tracks. The other monitor is the mixer window. So most of what we're going to be doing is over here. So first thing I do is turn off the record and monitor, use the master folder up here. And then the only thing we really care about for what we're working on down here is this master burn track. So this is the stereo recording of what was mixed in the moment for the service. So just to keep the rest of all of this, as one piece, I'm actually going to duplicate this track. So if you click it and hit D, you can see we now have a duplicate of that. I'm going to shift this over a little bit. And so now we're working on this alone. We're not anywhere near any of the rest of this stuff. So if we don't have things muted or whatever, it won't matter because we're working over here in dead space. Okay, we're going to drag the start and stops over here. In terms of editing, the only thing we really have to do to this is cut off the beginning and the end, like pre-service music. And then any editing within the service, if there was like a really long pause or maybe some discussion time or something like that, I will go and either shorten those or cut those out completely for time saving, and also because like that can sometimes just feel a little bit long on the radio. So zooming in and out with W and E, and you can press the command key to cut. So I can see like right here, it looks like this is where Mike's going to start talking. So I'm going to cut this off, move the start over, get my cursor there by clicking up here, zoom in a little bit. We'll just see where we're at here. You do have to turn the fader. You have to turn this master burn fader up a little bit so you can hear. Okay, so there's that. There's Mike starting to talk. So I'm going to cut more of this off because we don't really need that stuff. Put a little fade there.
Well, blessings to you.
We'll give it a little more. And line our startup. So to do the fade, there's a little triangle guy right here. And you turns into a little finger when you click on it. And you can drag that in like that.
Well, blessings to you from our Lord
there
and
we go.
Savior.
There's that. We did do some reflective pieces in this, but we had music and stuff playing and they were not overly long, so I'm going to leave those. That was in here with Kathy talking. Then we go to the end. We find where the blessing is, which I think is in here.
But made himself of no reputation.
Okay.
And his kingdom is here. Amen. God bless you.
Okay, so then the band played out, but we're not going to leave all that on there, partly because of time. We have to stay within an hour and 15 minutes or shorter, and I'll show you how you check that in a second. So we'll let the band play a little bit.
God bless you.
That didn't sound weird or too abrupt, so we're going to run with that. I usually move the end marker just a little bit after, so there's just a tiny bit of dead space. That way, I don't know how the radio does their transitions, but it just gives us a tiny bit of buffer so we don't like overlap in different keys or something from music from the next thing in the radio feed. Okay, so all that is all that has to happen with editing. Like I said, if there's something we have to take out, you have to go in here and cut something out and get things to align and whatever. You just have to do that as per the situation requires. We don't have that in this service. So that's all we're going to do to that for editing. The last part before we export it is I'm going to drag the mix window over here so you can see it. This is on the other monitor. You don't have to pull this over. On the master burn track, we need to arm, sorry, that is not supposed to be on there. We need to arm this L2 stereo. This is a limiter. You do not need to open it. Like, this is what it looks like, but you don't need to do anything to this. It's set to give us the result that we need. So make sure that is on. And if you're done editing, the next thing we're going to do is turn off all of these inserts right here on this monitor's fader. Okay? Turn those off. We're going to set both of these faders to 0. Make sure when you start editing this, like, don't wrench this up to 0 because it'll be really loud. Like, you can run it lower. If you hit play now, it will be really loud. So if you're not done editing, don't turn these up until you're done with all the editing. So we'll set those both to 0. And then we will go song. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to solo this track. Solo the master burn track. Go to song. Export mix down. And right here you can see we are at, the one is cut off for some reason, but we're at 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 8.125 seconds. So we're within our hour and 15 minute window there. Right here is where we choose the format. This is what it should be. MP3, 48 kilohertz, 320 kilobits. This shouldn't change really ever, but it's always good to double check that. So now we're gonna choose where we want this to go. Hitting those 3 dots there. There is a folder that will show up in the recent places here called Final Radio Mixdowns. If it doesn't show up in this list, you can also go to desktop, and it's right here. We're going to open that up. You will note how these are noted: 2020, 08, 09, 915, because I did this week already. We'll open it, and we will put in the name in this right here. So we'll do 2020, 08, 09, and if we were doing the 915 as we normally would, we would do 915. Okay, and then you would hit OK, and it would do its export thing. It takes 6 or 7 minutes. We're not going to do that because we don't want to sit here and wait for that. So we hit OK, and it's doing its export thing, and while that's doing that, you can go ahead and open up Dropbox. Right here, this little guy in Safari. And here we go. So I have already uploaded this, but we're going to do it again for sake of discussion. This, for sake of discussion, is last week's file. We do not want that in here anymore. So we're going to hit this checkbox and hit these 3 dots. And first I do rename, and I copy this with Command C. And then I do delete. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes, I want to delete this. Okay. So then we just have to wait for Studio One to finish. When Studio One is done, a window that looks like, sorry, I gotta find it. This window will open when Studio One is done exporting over on the other monitor. And then you can just take this, which is our most recent service that we edited, and drag and drop it into the Safari window that is Dropbox. And you can see down here, it's gonna upload. 47 seconds. Usually goes pretty quick unless we're having internet problems. We'll speed this up. All right. Now that it's uploaded, you see here the box is checked already. We're going to go to these 3 dots. We're going to do rename and Command V. And there you go. You don't have to type it in. Hit enter, renaming, done. So this needs to be named TRC Pella .mp3, all capitals TRC Pella. If that is not named that way with no space anywhere in it, the radio automated system will not download this file, and they will play the previous week's service again, because they have that all automated on their end. The same is true as if it is not an MP3 file, their system won't take it. So make sure it's an MP3, make sure it is named exactly like that. And that is it for uploading to Dropbox for the radio.